How many of you can recall the terror you felt knowing you had to give a speech? Perhaps it was in high school or at a wedding. There aren't too many people who feel at ease being the center of attention. Well, Toastmasters can help change all that. The purpose of this organization is to help people learn the art of speaking, see, like that, listening, and above all else, communicating. Maybe I should join. There are over 170,000 members in 8,000 clubs across the world. Joining us today is one of those members, Craig Sr., to tell us more about Toastmasters and how you can get involved. Welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you very
Might
much.
have to take one of those courses myself. How did the organization start? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was started actually by a fellow by the name of Ralph Smedley. He started around 1905 or so. Wow. He didn't actually incorporate until 1929.
Okay.
So he had a number of starts and stops along the way, but he never ever quit. He kept going until it finally got started because he believed in the ideal of more effective communication.
Now, is this why he started it?
Yes, he started because he saw in business a need for people to communicate more effectively.
Mm-hmm. And I think good communication is something that everybody can benefit from, which is the nice thing with Toastmastering. It doesn't matter sort of where you come from, you can always sort of improve your communication skills.
Absolutely. Toastmasters is made up of people from all walks of life. Mm-hmm. And they join Toastmasters for varying reasons. For example, one of my friends joined. He's a member of Big Brothers, and he joined just to become more comfortable speaking in front of groups. And as soon as he achieved that, he left. Right. Now, I've been after him ever since to come back. I said, nope, I achieved what I wanted to do. I've gone. He now speaks on behalf of big brothers all over.
Now, is this the goal of the organization, is to sort of get people more comfortable? Because I don't know many people that are, I mean, even me, I mean, I do this every day, but I hate getting up like at weddings and giving speeches and stuff. And I guess what this organization does is, does it teach you how to plan to give a speech properly?
Yes, we do teach how to give a speech, how to structure it, how to write it, and how to give it. And you overcome the comfort level or the discomfort level through practice. Now, this is my first time being with you here, but by the time I've been here 20 or 30 times, I'll be much more comfortable at it.
Yeah.
So that's what Toastmasters does. We meet every week, and we practice in front of a group of peers. People just like us. There's no pros, there's no top guns there. They're people that we meet every day. And when we make errors, we take joy in that because we know that we're learning when we make errors, and I know that I make lots of them, and I learn from that.
Well, it's a nice thing, though, because I'm sure everybody wants the feedback, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's a good environment.
Absolutely. What you mentioned at the start is Toastmasters is about speaking, listening, and thinking skills. When we speak, obviously people get up and they give a speech. But when they listen, what happens is when another member speaks, and another member gives an evaluation later on. So they're listening very carefully to everything the person says. They're taking notes. And at the end of the meeting, the evaluator gets up and gives an oral evaluation of the speaker. Now, the evaluation itself is another form of speech, where we are coaching someone. We want the speaker to be pumped up and feel good, but we also want the speaker to learn and grow. So we have to have the courage to give them the feedback and say that this was good, you can do it even better if you consider this or that.
So there's really no right or wrong way, just ways to improve.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Exactly.
Now, how does the program work for someone like me who knows nothing? And when I showed up, what happens? Do they give me a topic? Or?
Okay, what happens is when you first join, every member is given a book called the Communication and Leadership Program. And in it, there are 10 speech projects. Now, there's no particular topic. The topic is yours. The very first topic, or speech project, I should say, is called the icebreaker, where you're breaking the ice, you're getting started, and the topic is you. You're just introducing yourself to the group. The evaluator, in this case, gets up and simply congratulates you for having the courage to get up and stand up. If they can think of some major areas that you could improve on, they will share those with you, but by and large, the very first speech, you're just getting started. And they go on and they talk about voice, structure, gestures, and all the elements of speech are all contained in this book. Where each speech project gives you text which tells you how to do it, and but the topic is yours.
And it's not even, like you said, just content, but maybe how to stand or how to project your voice.
Absolutely.
Now, you're going to give us a little example now of
Apparently.
Toastmastering, a little presentation here. This is what you can expect if you join Toastmasters. Hit it.
Absolutely. Well, when people first join, they often have trouble writing. People's very first, first question they ask is, what can I possibly speak on? Well, the second question they ask is, how do I write a speech? Well, what I did is I put together a speech on how to structure and write a speech. And it's a 5-step plan called 5 Steps to Impact. So your speech is simple, and it has impact on the audience. It has an impact on the audience because it is, in fact, simple and memorable. The very first step I share with people is to consider what the theme is, or the premise, or the one statement that you want the audience to walk home with, the one concept, the one thing that you want them to know. For example, if you're a member of a charity, you would want the people in the audience to perhaps give money. And that's the one theme or the one concept you want them to have. For example, the Ottawa Food Bank, the one thing that they would say is, people are still hungry and they need your food. So that is the theme in that case. The second step is to put together the body headings. Don't start writing, but just put together those 3 or 4 main ideas. In this case, my little presentation, I have 5. 5 steps to impact. So my body has 5 headings. In this case, my headings are theme, body headings, which is the one I'm talking about right now, body details, where we're actually writing stories and so on, and the background to the body headings. Then we write the introduction and conclusion, because the introduction and conclusion should back up the main theme or premise. A lot of people start their speech writing the introduction or conclusion. We do that last. And finally, and this happens in no particular order, is the title. You may start out with the title. The title may hit you during the middle, or the title may come at the end. It doesn't really matter. So that was a very, very short presentation that I just gave. Now, if I was doing this in a workshop setting, I would go into each of them in greater detail. I would give stories, for example, and I would give more examples of each one. For example, I would go into body details and show you how to write sentences, how to write a paragraph. I would show you how to do an introduction and conclusion that had impact, that would make it more memorable for the audience. And I would share with you some titles that I have. I have about 100 titles of speeches at home that I've written. And I would go in a workshop setting where I was doing this over a longer period of time. I would share that with the audience there.
Is it important to know who your audience is?
Absolutely. The one key in public speaking is prepare, prepare, prepare. And the first step is to know the audience, to understand what their needs are, who they are, why they are in that room, and what they would like to take home with them. For example, I spoke at the Canadian Cancer Society, and I did a lot of background checking. I went out on the internet and found information about the Canadian Cancer Society. I also spoke with some people about what they do and what that particular group was. This is a group of volunteers who help people.
So you would talk to them a lot differently than if
Yes.
you're talking to 50 people who are cancer survivors.
Yes.
And I think that is probably
Yes.
the key to know. Tell us a little bit about the people who join this. Like we've talked about people coming from sort of all different aspects. Is it mainly so that they can get more comfortable speaking?
For many people, that's the first step. And after finishing that first step, after becoming more comfortable, you can go on to different levels. Many people enter speech contests. People go on to different levels. For example, once you finish the first 10 speeches, you get what they call a CTM, or Competent Toastmaster. And then you can go on to different speeches. And in fact, this presentation that you and I are in right now is called The Talk Show. And what I will
What's this
do,
book called? Communicating on Television.
Communicating
Maybe we should leave that
on
for us.
Television. Kim, I'll give this to you as a gift when we are finished. But what will happen is I'll take the tape, which my family is making at home right now.
That's right.
And I'll bring it to another Toastmaster or our club, let them view it, and get some feedback on them on how well I did here.
Because you would speak a lot differently speaking to a camera or just to me than to a group of 100 people.
Absolutely, absolutely. The way you speak, your gestures are very different depending on the size of the group and why you were there. For example, if I was sharing with the group about depression, my gestures and body language may be different than if I was sharing with the group on how to reach the top. My whole body language might be different.
It's interesting when you watch newsreaders when they're talking, you know, like Entertainment Tonight, they're very happy, and then you see CNN when they're very serious. You're right, they're a lot more sort of reserved and calm. You must meet a lot of really fascinating people getting involved with a group like this.
I do, and in fact, I've met many of them right here at Rogers Cable. They've all been very, very
Well,
nice.
Rogers has the most fascinating people around. And I think that's the wonderful thing is you can get feedback from people in a very, very wide variety of
in a peer-to-peer way. So there's no feeling, there's no threatening feeling or anything like that. It's very, very on the level, and everyone is there to try to help everyone else. And everyone else is very happy when they do well, and they are encouraging when they can do even better.
And that's the thing, you're not there to be criticized, it's to sort of...
Supportive.
Yeah. And
so we're very, I'm careful about the words I use. I try to avoid criticize. And I say give feedback or be supportive, encourage.
Yeah, it's true, because it really is one of the biggest fears for a lot of people getting up in front of a group. And if you can get in that environment where people can give you, say, you know, that was really good, but you can improve here.
Absolutely. Now, Toastmasters doesn't replace speech training. I highly recommend, if people want to move more quickly in speaking, that they take speech training. Here in Ottawa, there's some great courses. Dale Carnegie has one that they do a great job. Ray Jacobson Training is another group that does training. So there's many ways of getting training. And what I recommend to people is they get the speech training, which moves them up very quickly in their skill level. And from there, Toastmasters will provide a continuous growth curve.
How can people get contact Toastmasters in Ottawa?
They can contact the Toastmasters Ottawa phone line.
And you're always taking more people on? People are more than welcome to come out? Good
Absolutely.
stuff. Well, thank you for coming in
Well, you're welcome.
and telling us a little bit about that. Maybe I'll come out one night. Who knows? We're going to head off to the kitchen now to see Kevin and Joanne and let them show us how to make crab quesadillas.